All right, we're going to work on this lab, and this is to illustrate in particular when you import a report from another system and it might have a header. And so that creates some new issues. So I've already, I've already set up this connection. Maybe I should just verify. Let's drag and drop our little file. There we go. Just the first sheet. Okay. Now, this has a header, and this might be a recurring thing that you do every month or every period. And so you know that often reports coming out of systems have headers at the top, so you know what the data you're looking at. So here we want to indicate that the first row contains data. So we're not saying the first row is the header. We have to create our own variable names. The header's not going to give us the variable names. So the first row contains data, meaning that there are no variable names in this data set yet. We have to add them. You can see here's the header for the report, and then there's nothing, and the other variable is not even named, and this is not actually the name of the variable. This looks like rating to me. And then there's two blank lines. So this is a header on the report, and so we have to deal with that. So the first line contains data, so we have to let that know. All right, let's run that. Okay, so you can see here, by clicking on our little green button here, that the header now is in the first three rows. So we want to get rid of the first three rows. But I want to harvest that year off the report so that as I import other reports, it will harvest the year. I don't want to just manually type in 2021. I want to harvest it. Okay, so let's get rid of those 3 years. And I want the first, I want to skip the first 3 rows. Okay, good. So that's done. And if I run and look at that, the first 3 rows are gone. But now I need variable names, right? So let's do that. But I want to harvest off that. So let's select some records here. All right, I just want to select row 1. Okay, so I just want row 1 for right now because I'm harvesting. And then I want to select the records. And here I want to rename it. So that's really, I've already selected the record, but I want to use the select record tool so that I can rename it. So I wanted to rename it. And now I'm going to have a little formula. And come here, buddy. All right, so my little formula. I'm going to give you the syntax. It takes a little while to figure the syntax. I mean, you can go through here and you can look at all this interesting stuff. And there's just every kind of pre-built thing in here. Operators. So we're looking at replace, which I believe is the string. So there's 4 different replace strings. So I'm not going to try to walk you through all of that, but it's in there and you can learn to use it if you like. So this string is using the replace function, and then year is the variable. So put something in that variable that we've named year. Put something in that column. What is it? For movie index, for the stuff that's in there now, remove everything but what's after this space. See, so all of this here, replace it with nothing. 2 quotes together is empty. Okay. So it's saying do that. And which column do we want to do that for? Year. The data type looks okay. I'm probably not going to do a calculation where year is going to be a number. It's a description, so I think we're okay. Let's run it, see if it's happy. And let's click here and see if that's what we got. So here it put the year in here. I know that seems real klutzy, but if you're doing this as a routine and all your reports have this header, then you would probably put this into a box and call it a set function and just copy it at the beginning of all your processes. All right, so what's next? So the next thing I want to do is up here, after I've gotten rid of the header, I can see here that these are variable names that I might like. And so I want to rename these variables, the stuff in the first row. So I need a tool called dynamic rename, and it's not obvious to me where it is. So I'm going to put it up here and let it find it for me. So it's there, and I can pull it down here. So if you can't find a tool, you don't want to hunt for it, that's one way to find it. All right, so rename mode. So it's got some modes here, and I want to take the field names from the first row of data. All right, let's run it. And now it's taken those and named my variables. And of course, if you want to rename it, you can, but that's a starting point. All right, so now let's take our variable year and append it to our new cleaned up database. All right, and put those together. Okay, and run that. See how it's looking. All right, so that's looking a lot better. We've got year as a variable now. We've got variables named here at the top. We've gotten rid of the junk. So now we can, now it wants to filter something out. So under the movies, at the bottom, the ratings or the index, there's a invalid contents. And that may be something, transactions that are pending, not posted, whatever. But there's a keyword that routinely comes out of your report you want to remove. Okay, let's do that. All right, let's find our filter. There we go. Come here. And we want to filter out from the index column anything that equals open. Was it capitalized? Yes. Okay, so it is case sensitive. Open. All right, let's see if it likes that. All right, so that's coming out, and so here's the ones that doesn't have open. I'm thinking I want to do this does not equal, so that the true has, it seems like I don't want to work with the false data, so I'll do it that way so that the stuff that doesn't have open is going to come as true, and then the only thing that's going to be here is the thing we filtered out. Okay, so now what they want is finally we can calculate production costs, so let's do that. All right, let's check our variables here. All right, so we want to calculate the production costs, but right now production is a string, so that's not going to work for us. Let's make that into a double. Box office also, and that needs to be a double. Total number of movies, that's going to be a count, so let's make it a number. Index is fine, name of the movie, year is fine. Okay, so let's run that, make sure everybody's happy. That shouldn't change anything, it's just changing the variable type. All right. Let's create a new variable. And this is going to be average production budget. Doesn't seem like this is an average, does it? Maybe total production budget. All right, let's see if it likes it now. That's a little better. Okay, what do they want now? So now we need to sort it because they want the top ones. We didn't really do a percent, did we? I think I'm okay with that. We can modify that a little bit. We just want to play with Alteryx, so I'm all right with that. All right, how do I want to sort it? We want the production budget, and we want highest to lowest. And let's run that sucker. Let's see if that's what we got. So that appears to be working. And now we want to sample just the first 3. The top. Where's our little sample? I just want to sample. I want to create a sample, which would be like random number generators or something like that. And I want the first 3 rows. And let's run it. Okay, so there's the most expensive movies. I just wanted to show you, here is the official key where they did 3 more calculations to calculate the overall percent. So this was just the cost. They did the percent, but they called it profit, and it was percent of total production. Anyway, there were some kooky things in this calculation because the Alteryx person that created this, or that taught me to create this, didn't know how to calculate profit. so I did want you to see that and see that big old mess. So I did a little shortcut around that. But the key here, the thing I wanted to, I know the instructions are not quite as clear as you would like, and I may work on that in a future term, but the key here that I wanted you to get exposed to is that reports often have headers. So how would you deal with the header? That's really the big takeaway here, is skipping the rows, harvesting anything off of the header that you want, so that when you import this over and over and over, it does it automatically for you. And then putting that, if you harvested something off the header, putting it back in, and then filtering out keywords or things, noise that come into the report as a routine, and you want to, as a routine, call those out. Could even be nulls, who knows, although you could have called out your nulls in the beginning when you did your import. All right, so the calculations after that and the sorting and all that, it depends on the task you're doing, right? So you got a chance to have a peek at that, but I was unhappy with this particular project in terms of their calculation was not correct. So I don't want to repeat that. So anyway, I hope that's interesting for you, and let me know if you have a question.